The night was silent. Only the wind moved between the dark trees. The small town had gone to sleep hours ago, but Daniel was still walking home from his late shift. His boots crunched on the gravel path, his jacket pulled tight against the cold air. He liked the peace of the night, but on this evening the silence carried something strange. At first, he thought it was only the sound of the river flowing nearby, but then he stopped. He heard it again, a thin cry, soft and weak. It did not sound like any bird or animal he knew. It sounded like a baby. Daniel froze. His heart jumped in his chest. He looked around. The river cut across the land just ahead, black water moving under the pale moonlight. No one lived near this part of the woods, no reason for a child to be here. But the cry came again, louder now, desperate and sharp. He moved, quickly toward the sound. His boots slipped on the wet ground near the bank. He pushed branches aside and leaned forward. That was when he saw it. A bundle was caught between the rocks at the edge of the river. Something inside the cloth moved, the fabric soaked and heavy. The cry came from there. Daniel threw himself down on the muddy ground and reached out. The water was cold as ice, pulling at the bundle, trying to drag it deeper. With one strong pull, he dragged it onto the shore. The cry was weaker now. He tore the wet cloth apart. His eyes went wide. It was not a normal baby. Its skin glowed, faintly in the moonlight, a pale blue shimmer spreading across its arms and face. Tiny patterns like silver veins pulsed on its skin. Its eyes, large and shining, opened and stared straight at him. Daniel's breath caught. For a moment he almost dropped the child. It was alien, no question. Nothing on earth looked like this. And yet, it was a baby, small and helpless, crying in the cold. He pulled off his jacket and wrapped it around the child. The glow from its skin shone faintly through the fabric, warming his arms. The baby's cries softened, as if it trusted him. Daniel swallowed hard, his mind spinning. "Who would throw you in the river?" he whispered, his voice shaking. There was no answer, only the rush of the water, but Daniel's heart was racing. Someone had left this child to die, and if someone had tried to kill it once, they might try again. He stood and looked around. The woods seemed darker now, the wind sharper. He had the strange feeling that eyes were on him. He tightened his grip on the baby. The safest place was his cabin, far away from town. No one ever visited him there. No one would know. He hurried back along the path, every sound of the forest making him turn his head. The baby gave a soft sound. Not quite a cry. Not quite a laugh. Daniel looked down at it. The glowing eyes blinked up at him, and for the first time he felt something strange. A connection, as if this small being knew him already. By the time he reached his cabin, sweat was on his forehead, though the night was cold. He pushed the door open and went inside. The old wooden house smelled of smoke and dust, but it was dry and warm. He set the baby down on his bed and lit a lamp. The glow of the baby's skin mixed with the orange light. It was beautiful and frightening at the same time. Daniel sat on the edge of the bed, staring. He could not understand why or how this happened. A river in the middle of nowhere, and now an alien baby in his hands. Questions burned in his mind. Was it from a ship? Was there a crash nearby? Had someone abandoned it here? Or was it hidden for a reason? The baby stirred, reaching a tiny hand toward him. The silver veins on its skin pulsed softly. Daniel hesitated, then let the small hand curl around his finger. The glow spread a little brighter, warm against his skin. In that moment, his fear began to fade. Whatever this child was, whoever had tried to get rid of it, Daniel knew one thing clearly. He could not abandon it. The night dragged on, and the wind outside grew louder. Daniel tried to rest but could not. Every time he closed his eyes, he heard again the cry from the river. He had saved it once, but deep inside he felt that danger was not over. The baby slept quietly, glowing faintly under the blanket. Daniel sat in the chair by the window, looking out at the forest. His hand rested on the old rifle he kept there. not for hunting, but for safety. He had the strange sense that something or someone might come looking for this child. The river had given him a secret, but secrets never stayed hidden for long, and as the night grew colder, Daniel could not shake the thought that this was only the beginning. The baby slept quietly in Daniel's cabin. Its glow painted the wooden walls with a faint blue light. Daniel sat in the chair near the bed, his rifle resting against his knee. He had not slept, not even for a moment. His ears stayed open for any sound outside. Every crack of a branch, every whisper of the wind. The night stretched long and his thoughts kept circling. Who would leave a child like this in the river? Who wanted it gone? And why did he feel like someone was already searching? At last the sea, first pale light of morning, touched the window. Daniel leaned back, his eyes heavy. He thought he might finally rest, but then a sound broke the silence. 3 soft knocks, slow and steady, came from the cabin door. Daniel froze, his heart kicked hard against his ribs. No one ever came here. Not in the morning, not in the night. His cabin stood too far from town, too deep in the woods. The knocks came again, this time louder. Daniel rose slowly, his hand tightening on the rifle. He glanced at the baby on the bed, still sleeping peacefully, its faint glow pulsing like a heartbeat. Whoever was outside did not know he had the child, at least not yet. "Who's there?" he called, his voice rough. Silence. Then a voice, soft, but carrying a strange weight, answered, "I've come for what belongs to me." Daniel's blood ran cold. He stepped closer to the door, pressing his shoulder against it, his rifle lifted in one hand. "I don't know what you're talking about," he said firmly. The voice replied, calm but sharp. "The child you pulled from the river. It is mine. Give it to me before it is too late." Daniel's throat tightened. How did they know? He looked back at the glowing baby, still wrapped in his jacket. Then he whispered mostly to himself, "No, not like this." The handle of the door rattled. Then came a third knock, harder, urgent. Daniel aimed the rifle, ready. He pulled the door open just a crack, enough to see outside. There stood a tall figure cloaked in silver-gray fabric. The hood fell back to reveal a woman, not human. Her skin carried a faint shimmer, her eyes like molten metal, glowing softly. Her hair flowed down in long strands of pale silver, shifting like water in the light. She looked directly at him. Her gaze was calm but burning. "You have the child," she said again. "It does not belong to you. It must be returned." Daniel felt a weight in his chest. He had seen many strange things in his life, but nothing like this. This was no ordinary stranger. She radiated something he could not name, power and sorrow mixed together. "And if I refuse?" Daniel asked, his rifle steady. The woman's lips pressed into a thin line. For a moment he thought she might attack, but instead she lowered her gaze. "Then you risk more than your own life," she said. "The child carries danger you cannot understand. Give it to me and walk away. Save yourself." Her words shook him, but not enough to change his mind. He shook his head. "I pulled that baby from the river. It was left to die. I won't hand it to someone I don't know. Not when it's helpless." The woman's eyes flickered. She stepped closer, but Daniel pressed the barrel of the rifle against the doorframe, blocking her path. Then, before either could speak again, a sound cut through the air. Footsteps, fast and heavy, moving toward the cabin. Another presence, another figure approaching. Daniel's chest tightened. He glanced at the silver-haired woman, and for the first time he saw fear cross her face. "Not them," she whispered sharply, her voice shaking. "We must hurry." Daniel barely had time to think when another knock, sharper than the first, slammed against the door. This was not patient or polite. It was a demand, a warning. The baby stirred on the bed. Its glow brightened, faint sound slipping from its lips. Daniel felt the room grow tense, as if the very air was holding its breath. The silver-haired woman hissed, "Open, and you doom us all. Do not trust who comes next." Daniel's heart raced. He was caught between two strangers, both speaking of danger, both wanting the child. One stood before him with desperate eyes, another now at his door with force. The second knock rattled the cabin walls. The wood shuddered. Daniel tightened his grip on the rifle, his pulse pounding in his ears. He whispered to himself, "What have I gotten into?" Outside, the first woman turned her head, watching the shadow move across the window. Her glowing eyes locked on Daniel's. "If you wish to live, you will listen to me," she said, her voice sharp now. "Keep the door closed, the baby is not safe with them." But Daniel could already hear the heavy breathing on the other side, the sharp claw-like scrape against the wood. Someone or something wanted in, and it was not going to wait much longer. The baby gave a sudden cry, piercing and strange. The glow flared brighter than before, filling the cabin with an otherworldly light. Daniel stood frozen between two choices: trust the silver-haired woman at his door, or prepare for the unknown horror about to break inside. And in that moment, he understood one terrible truth. The cry from the river had only been the first step. The real danger was now standing just outside his door. The pounding on the cabin door did not stop. Each hit shook the old wood, making the frame groan. Daniel's rifle was steady, but his hands were damp with sweat. Behind him, the baby cried louder, its glow filling the small room like a lantern. The silver-haired woman at the door leaned close, her voice sharp. "Do not open. Whoever is out there will not show mercy. Trust me or regret it." Daniel's mind raced. He did not trust her, but the terror in her eyes was real. Then, before he could decide, the door burst open with a crash. The wood splintered, cold air rushed in, and standing in the doorway was another woman. Different, but just as alien. Her skin was a deep shade of violet, glowing faintly in the morning light. Her eyes were not silver like the first woman's, but golden, fierce, and burning. Around her shoulders hung armor made of black plates that shimmered. Like stone, her voice rang with authority as she pointed at the silver-haired woman. "Step away from the human," she ordered. "You have no claim on that child." Daniel blinked in shock. His rifle wavered between them. Two strangers now stood before him, both demanding the same baby, both warning him not to trust the other. The silver-haired woman snarled, "You lie. Your people want the child as a weapon. You always did. I won't let you twist the truth again." Shatter, violet-skinned woman, stepped inside, her golden eyes locked on Daniel. "Human, you have been dragged into something you cannot understand. That child carries blood from my people. It belongs with us. Give it to me before this fool gets you both killed." Daniel's jaw tightened. He turned his eyes from one to the other. "Enough," he barked. "You both claim the same thing, but none of you tell me the truth. What is this baby? Why was it left to drown in the river?" The baby's cry grew louder, as if answering. Its glow pulsed brighter, flashing across the walls. Both women turned toward it, their faces tight with urgency. The silver-haired woman stepped closer, her hands open. "The child is heir to a fallen line, a royal bloodline, hunted by those who fear its return. It must live to keep hope alive." But the violet-skinned woman shook her head sharply. "Do not listen, human. That child is no heir. It was born in secret, made with stolen blood. A tool for war. If it survives, worlds will burn." Daniel's stomach turned. He felt his knees weaken. One said the child was hope. The other said it was a weapon. Both could not be true, but both could not be lies either. The rifle trembled in his hands. "And I'm supposed to choose who to believe," he muttered under his breath. The violet-skinned woman's voice softened, just for a moment. "I do not want to harm you, human. I only want the child safe. My people will guard it. We know what danger follows it." The silver-haired woman hissed, "Safe? You mean caged? You mean chained until it serves your army." They clashed, words sharp as knives. Daniel felt trapped in the middle. But then, the baby let out a strange sound. Not a cry, but a high, humming tone. The glow spread brighter, reaching both women. The silver lines across its skin pulsed like living fire. For one moment, Daniel swore he saw shapes in the glow. Memories, images of a ship in flames, screams, and shadows of soldiers. Then the vision snapped away, leaving him breathless. Both women froze, watching the baby. Fear filled their faces. But it was not fear of each other. It was fear of what the child could do. The violet-skinned woman whispered, "It begins already." "Too soon." The silver-haired woman stepped back, shaking her head. "No, it is only reacting to danger. The child knows who to trust. Look, human. It clings to you." Daniel glanced at the baby, wrapped in his jacket. Its tiny hand reached out toward him, glowing brighter when it touched his arm. He felt warmth spread into his chest. Not just heat, but something deeper, something alive. And for the first time, Daniel felt the weight of their words. This child was not ordinary, not even for an alien. It carried something powerful, dangerous, maybe both. The golden-eyed woman moved closer, her tone low and serious. "You do not understand, human. Keeping it here will bring hunters, killers, armies. It will not be long before more come. Stronger than me, stronger than her." She nodded toward the silver-haired woman. "When they arrive, they will burn everything in their path," the silver-haired woman shot back. "And if you take it, you will bring the war sooner. Your people will see it as their weapon, not their child. That is the truth." Daniel pressed a hand to his forehead. His mind was breaking under the weight of it. Two stories, both believable, both terrifying. Who could he trust? The baby let out another sound, this time soft, almost like laughter. Its glow dimmed slightly, curling into his chest. Daniel felt its tiny hand grip his finger again. That small touch grounded him, pulled him back from panic. He lowered his rifle slowly. "Listen," he said, his voice steady now. "I don't know who's telling the truth, maybe neither of you, but I do know one thing. This child is alive because of me, and until I understand what's happening, it stays with me." The women both stiffened, ready to argue. But before they could speak, a distant roar shook the ground. The walls of the cabin trembled. Dust drifted down from the ceiling. The silver-haired woman's eyes went wide. "They've found us." The violet-skinned woman turned toward the door, golden eyes blazing. "Too soon. We're out of time." Daniel clutched the glowing baby tighter. His heart pounded in his chest. He had no answers, no plan, only one terrible truth. Whoever had come now was not knocking. They were coming to take the child by force, and he knew, deep inside, that the second stranger was only the beginning of a storm far greater than he could imagine. The roar faded, but its echo stayed in the air like a warning. The cabin seemed smaller, the air heavier. Daniel held the glowing baby close. To his chest, its soft hum calmed him, but his heart still pounded fast. The silver-haired woman pressed her hand against the wall, listening to the ground's vibration. "They are near," she whispered. "Hunters. They will not stop until the child is taken." The violet-skinned woman shook her head, her golden eyes fierce. "Your lies never end. These hunters come because of you, not because of me. You were the one who failed to hide it. Now the human suffers for your mistakes." Their voices cut through the silence, sharp like knives. Daniel raised his hand. "Enough." His voice was rough, but it carried weight. "No more riddles. You both want me to trust you, then tell me the truth. What is this child? Why is everyone hunting it?" The baby shifted, its skin glowing faintly, as if listening too. The silver-haired woman was the first to speak. Her voice shook, but her eyes stayed locked on Daniel. "The child is heir to a broken kingdom. My people ruled once, long before your earth even knew the stars. But the throne was stolen, the bloodline destroyed. This child is the last. If it dies, hope dies too. That is why I must protect it. That is why I came." Her words carried pain almost too deep to fake. Daniel felt the weight in her voice. He almost believed her. Until the violet-skinned woman spoke. "Do not listen," she cut in. Her tone was colder, sharper. "She speaks of thrones, but she hides the truth. That child is no heir. It was made, not born. My people's blood was stolen in secret, twisted in labs combined with hers. It was created as a weapon, a child with power to destroy fleets. That is what she calls an heir." Daniel's hands tightened around the baby. His stomach turned. "Made, not born," he muttered. He looked at the glowing skin. the silver veins that pulsed with life. Could a child like this really be created? The silver-haired woman's eyes flashed. Lies. You twist everything. Your people fear what you cannot control. You call it a weapon because you cannot see it as more than that. The golden-eyed woman stepped closer, her armor scraping against the wood. And you call it an heir because you cannot admit what you created. You doomed this child before. It even breathed. Now you drag it across worlds, hiding it in rivers, running from your own guilt. Daniel felt the air in the cabin grow colder. The truth was tangled, both stories carrying parts that rang true. He could not tell who was lying, or, if both were, the baby gave a soft cry. Its glow flared again, brighter than before. The silver patterns across its skin spread, forming new lines, almost like words he could not read. For one strange moment, Daniel thought he heard voices in his head. Not from the women, not from himself, but something older, something inside the child. He staggered back, gasping. What? What was that? The silver-haired woman's face paled. It has begun already, she whispered. The violet-skinned woman's golden eyes narrowed. No, too soon. Daniel's throat tightened. He looked at them both. What is happening to it? Neither answered at first. Then the silver-haired woman spoke. The child's power is awakening. That is why the hunters come. They will sense it soon. If they find us, none of us will survive. The violet-skinned woman's voice softened. Just slightly. Human, do you not see? This child's very existence is dangerous. Already it changes the air. Already it whispers into minds. If it stays, your world will burn with it. Daniel's chest ached. He looked at the baby. It's small. Fingers reached toward him, glowing brighter when they touched his hand. He felt warmth spread inside him again, calm and steady, not dangerous, not evil. Just alive, just needing him. He shook his head. I don't see a weapon, I see a baby. One someone tried to kill. One someone threw into the river to drown. I won't let anyone harm it again. The silver-haired woman lowered her eyes as if relieved. The violet-skinned woman clenched her fists, but her voice dropped to a whisper. Then you are already part of its fate, human. You will not escape it. Daniel swallowed hard. His thoughts spun like a storm. He was only a man, just a worker from a small town, and yet, now he was holding something that carried secrets of galaxies, something two powerful strangers wanted, something hunters were already chasing. The fire in the cabin flickered low. The night outside pressed heavy against the windows. Daniel felt the weight of the baby against his chest, soft and warm, but carrying a burden too heavy for him to understand. At last he spoke, his voice quiet but firm. No more secrets from now on. If I'm to protect this child, I need the truth, every part of it. Do you hear me? The two women looked at each other, their faces tight with unspoken things. Neither wanted to give away too much, neither wanted to lose their hold. But Daniel saw it in their eyes. Both were afraid, not only of each other, not only of the hunters, but of the child itself. The baby stirred again, its glow dimming. Its eyes blinked slowly before closing, drifting back into sleep. The cabin grew quiet once more, but the silence carried weight. Daniel sat back down, staring at the flickering fire. His voice broke the silence. Secrets in the night, he whispered to himself. And I'm trapped in the middle. Outside, the wind carried strange sounds, distant and low, as if something fast was moving through the forest, searching, and deep inside, Daniel knew the night was far from over. The real danger had not even arrived yet. The night outside the cabin grew restless. The trees swayed hard in the wind, but Daniel knew it was not the storm that made the forest move. Something else was out there. Something heavy. Hunting. The silver-haired woman stood near the window, her glowing eyes scanning the dark woods. Her voice was low, sharp with fear. They are close now. I can feel them. The violet-skinned woman adjusted the black plates of her armor, her golden gaze fixed on the door. Let them come, she said coldly. I will not run. If the hunters want the child, they must pass through me. Daniel sat with the baby, in his arms. His chest tightened at their words. He was only a man with an old rifle. These two women carried power beyond his understanding. Yet both looked tense, both afraid. The baby stirred. Its glow pulsed faster, brighter, as if warning. "Them," Daniel whispered softly. "Shh, it's all right." But he knew it was not all right. Then came the sound, a howl, deep, metallic, echoing through the trees. It was not human, not animal. It was the sound of machines mixed with something alive. Daniel's stomach twisted. The silver-haired woman hissed under her breath. "Trackers." The howl was answered by another, closer this time, then another, until the forest sang with their cries. They were surrounding the cabin. The baby whimpered, its glow trembling like a flickering flame. Daniel held it tighter. He could feel its small heart beating fast against his chest. The violet-skinned woman drew a curved blade from her side, the metal glimmering in the firelight. "When the door breaks, stay behind me," she ordered. Her voice was sharp but steady. She looked like a warrior ready to face death. The silver-haired woman shook her head. "Fool, you cannot fight them alone. Not when they smell blood. We must move. Now." Daniel's pulse hammered in his ears. He looked between them. "Where would we even go?" he demanded. "We're surrounded." Before anyone could answer, claws scraped against the wood of the cabin, long, dragging scratches that made Daniel's skin crawl. The sound moved along, the wall circling, searching. Then another set of claws joined. And another. The cabin shuddered. Dust rained from the ceiling. The baby cried out, its glow bursting bright, filling the room with silver light. Through the window, Daniel saw them at last, shapes moving between the trees, tall, twisted creatures, their bodies part metal, part flesh. Their eyes glowed red, their mouths opened wide with rows of jagged teeth. They were hunters, built to track, built to kill. Daniel's breath caught. His rifle felt too small in his hands, too weak, but he lifted it anyway. His finger brushed the trigger. His mind screamed. This was madness. The silver-haired woman pressed close to him, her voice urgent. "Protect the child no matter what happens. Do not let them take it." The door shook hard. A claw burst through the wood, splinters flying across the room. The violet-skinned warrior slashed her blade, sparks flashing as metal met metal. The claw withdrew with a screech. The hunters howled again. The sound rattled. The cabin walls, Daniel's chest felt hollow. His instincts screamed at him to run, but his legs stayed firm. The baby clung to his shirt, glowing brighter, almost as if trying to shield him. The silver-haired woman spread her hands, strange symbols glowing along her skin. A barrier shimmered for a moment around the cabin, but already the hunters slammed against it. Their claws left cracks of red. Light in the shield, it would not last. Daniel aimed his rifle at the window, a red-eyed face lunged into view, jaws wide. He pulled the trigger. The shot rang loud. The creature jerked back, smoke rising from its face, but others replaced it. Dozens of them circling, waiting for the barrier to fail. The violet-skinned woman growled, her golden eyes blazing. "When they break through. I hold the front, you keep the child safe." Daniel wanted to shout that he was no soldier, no protector, but the words stuck in his throat. The baby's small glow pressed against his chest, and he understood. He had no choice. The barrier cracked louder. The silver-haired woman gasped, sweat shining on her skin. "It's breaking," she whispered. "Prepare yourself." The hunters slammed once more, and the shield shattered with a flash of light. The cabin door burst apart, splinters flying. Figures poured in, claws flashing, red eyes blazing. The violet-skinned warrior roared and swung her blade. Sparks burst as she cut through the first hunter, metal and blood spraying the floor. Another leapt at her. She twisted, driving her blade, deep. But more came. Too many. Daniel fired again, the rifle's kick slamming into his shoulder. A hunter crashed through the window. Landing close, its claw reached for him. Daniel swung the rifle hard, smashing the creature's jaw. It screeched. But another was already behind it. The silver-haired woman shouted words in a tongue he could not understand. Energy crackled from her hands, blasting two hunters back. The walls shook with each strike. The air smelled of smoke, blood, and burning metal. Daniel's lungs burned. His arms ached. He clutched the baby tight with one arm, fired with the other. He felt like a cornered animal fighting only to breathe. The hunters closed in, too many, too fast. Then the baby screamed, not a normal cry, but a piercing, powerful sound. The glow exploded outward, filling the cabin with blinding light. Hunters shrieked, stumbling back. Their red eyes dimmed. Their claws smoked as the light burned through. Daniel shielded his face, but the warmth from the baby spread into him, not painful, not blinding. It felt alive, powerful, unstoppable. The hunters fell back into the night, their howls fading. The glow dimmed slowly. Leaving the cabin in silence once more, Daniel opened his eyes. His hands shook, his rifle was empty, his cabin was broken but still standing. And the baby lay quiet again, its glow soft and gentle. The silver-haired woman looked at Daniel with wide eyes. "It saved us," she whispered, almost in awe. The violet-skinned warrior clenched her jaw. "No, not saved. It revealed itself. Now every hunter in the stars will know it lives." Daniel's chest rose and fell. He stared at the baby in his arms and whispered, "What are you?" The baby did not answer, but deep inside, Daniel knew. The fight had only begun. The cabin smelled of smoke and blood. The broken door hung loose, splinters scattered across the floor. The hunters were gone, but their howls still echoed in the trees. Daniel sat against the wall, the glowing baby pressed. Against his chest, his arms ached, his ears rang, but he refused to let go. The silver-haired woman knelt nearby, her hands trembling. She whispered words Daniel did not know, her eyes fixed on the baby as if praying. The violet-skinned warrior stood in the doorway, her blade dripping black liquid. Her golden eyes burned. Sharp and heavy, Daniel's chest heaved. He looked between them. You both talk about protecting this child, but all I see is fighting. You're tearing each other apart while monsters try to rip us down. I need the truth now." The silver-haired woman lifted her head. Her voice cracked but carried weight. "The child is royal blood, the last of a line that could restore what was lost. If you trust me, human, I will protect it. I will raise it to bring peace again." The violet-skinned warrior scoffed. "Peace, do not believe her, she lies. That child was made in secret, a tool built with stolen blood. Her people want to use it to seize power again. If you trust her, you hand it to warlords." Daniel shook. His grip tightened on the baby. "And if I trust you," he asked, "what then?" Her golden eyes softened just for a moment. "If you trust me, I will take it far from here. Hide it where no hunters can find it. Yes, it is dangerous. But alive, it can still be studied, guided, controlled. Better that than unleashing it blindly." The baby stirred. Its glow flickered as if reacting to their words. A small hand reached for Daniel's chin. Its eyes opened, glowing brighter. It looked at him. Only him. Daniel felt warmth spread inside his chest again. He lowered his rifle. His voice dropped. "Lo, I don't know who to trust, maybe neither of you, but I know one thing. I can't hand this baby over, not yet." The women's faces hardened, both ready to argue, but Daniel stood, his legs shaking, his voice rising. "Listen to me. You want me to choose. You want me to trust. But trust isn't given to words. It's earned. If you want me to believe you, then prove it. Prove you care more for this child than for your own cause." The silver-haired woman's lips pressed tight. "I have risked everything to come here. I have left my people, my home, my life. What more proof do you want?" The violet-skinned warrior raised her blade, the tip glowing faintly. "And I have fought hunters until my hands bled. I stand here between you and death. Is that not proof?" Daniel's voice broke, rough with anger and exhaustion. "No, that's proof of your war, not your heart. Tell me what you'll do if this child grows up not as you hope, not as a king, not as a weapon, but just as a child. Tell me you'll still protect it then." Silence filled the cabin. The fire burned low. The baby's glow pulsed softly. Both women hesitated. Neither gave an answer right away. Then the silver-haired woman whispered, "Yes, Even then I will protect it. It is life. It deserves more than chains or drowning in rivers. It deserves to choose its own future. The violet-skinned warrior's jaw tightened. Her golden eyes flicked to Daniel. She hesitated longer, then said, "If it becomes a child, I will keep it safe. But if it becomes a weapon, I will end it. Better to die than burn galaxies." Daniel's chest sank. He heard truth in both, but also danger. One promised unconditional protection, the other conditional safety. His mind spun, his heart pulled. The baby whimpered again, small, helpless. Its glow pressed against his chest. Daniel looked down at it. "You're just a baby," he whispered. "And they want to turn you into something else." A sound outside cut him short. The hunters were not finished. Distant howls rose again, but this time mixed with something deeper, heavier. The ground trembled. Daniel's skin went cold. The silver-haired woman's eyes went wide. "The greater hound," she whispered. "They've released it." The violet-skinned warrior's golden eyes burned with fury. "Then the time for talk is over, human. Decide, who do you trust? Who stands with you when it breaks through that wall?" Daniel's throat tightened. He looked at the baby, glowing faintly in his arms. He looked at the silver-haired woman, desperate but full of sorrow. He looked at the violet-skinned warrior, fierce but cold with judgment. The ground shook harder. A roar tore through the forest, louder than thunder. The cabin walls rattled, dust fell from the ceiling, the choice pressed on him like a weight of stone. If he chose wrong, the baby would be lost. If he chose wrong, maybe the world would be lost. Daniel closed his eyes for a moment. His arms held the baby close, his heart beat heavy. When he opened them again, his voice came firm, steady. "I will protect this child myself," he said. "But if either of you truly mean what you claim, then stand with me. Prove it now, or leave." The women stared at him, stunned. Neither expected him to refuse both. But Daniel's eyes burned with resolve. His hands clutched the baby tight. Another roar shook the cabin. The hunters were coming, stronger, closer, and Daniel knew. Trust would not be decided by words. It would be decided by the battle to come. The roar outside shook the cabin to its frame. The baby stirred in Daniel's arms, its glow pulsing faster. The fire cracked low. Shadows twisted on the walls. Daniel's breath came heavy. His body screamed with exhaustion. But his grip on the child did not falter. The silver-haired woman pressed herself against the wall, her hands glowing faintly, whispering old words like prayers. The violet-skinned warrior tightened her grip on her curved blade. Her golden eyes locked on the broken doorway. "It comes," she said, her voice flat with certainty. Daniel forced himself to his feet. His rifle was nearly useless now. He had only courage left. "If you're both staying," he said to the women, "then fight for the child, not for your pride. Prove to me you mean it." The ground trembled again. Then the wall cracked with a heavy slam. A massive claw punched through the wood, thick and black like iron. Sparks rained as the claw dragged down the beam. The roar followed, deeper than thunder, shaking the floor. Beneath them, the silver-haired woman gasped. "The greater hound," she whispered. "They've unleashed the beast." Daniel's heart pounded. He had seen death before, but never like this. Never something that made the air itself heavy. The cabin groaned as the creature struck again. Splinters fell across the floor. The baby's glow flared bright, filling the room with silver light. The wall exploded inward, and there it stood. The beast towered above them, a twisted shape of flesh and metal. Its head was armored, its red eyes burning. Its mouth opened wide, rows of teeth grinding like blades. Its breath came out in smoke, stinking of oil and blood. The violet-skinned warrior stepped forward, her blade raised high. Her voice rang sharp. "Stay behind me!" she shouted. Then she charged. Her strike slammed against the beast's leg, sparks flying. The creature roared and swung its claws, smashing the wall. The warrior rolled, striking again, her golden eyes blazing with fury. The silver-haired woman lifted her hands. Light burst from her palms, striking the beast's chest. The blast threw it back a step, but only a step. It roared louder, its eyes burned hotter. Daniel clutched the baby tighter. His mind raced. He wanted to help, But what could one man do against a monster of this size? His rifle felt like a toy. In his hand still, he raised it, firing shot after shot. Bullets sparked off the beast's armor, barely slowing it. The baby cried. Its glow spread brighter. Daniel felt the warmth flow into his arms, into his chest. He gasped as the light sank into him. His body felt stronger, sharper. His breath steadied. His hands no longer shook. It was as if the baby had given him strength. The beast slammed its claw down. The violet warrior caught the strike with her blade, sparks sprang. Her knees bent under the weight, she screamed with effort. The silver-haired woman blasted again, her light carving cracks in the beast's armor. Daniel raised his rifle one more time, aiming at the glowing cracks. He pulled the trigger. The bullet struck deep. The beast howled, staggering back. The women glanced at him, shocked. Daniel stood tall, his chest burning with the baby's glow. "We fight together," he shouted. Now, for the first time, neither argued. The silver-haired woman turned her light into a shield around Daniel and the child. The violet warrior charged the beast again, her blade cutting deep. Daniel fired into the cracks, each shot striking true, guided by the strange warmth inside him. The beast thrashed, breaking the cabin roof. Splinters and beams crashed around them, but together they pressed harder. The warrior cut. Daniel fired. The silver-haired woman's light seared into the beast's chest. The baby's glow pulsed with every strike, stronger, brighter, as if lending them power. At last, the creature let out one final roar. Its body shuddered, then collapsed, shaking the ground. The cabin walls groaned and then fell silent. Smoke rose from the beast's broken frame. Daniel stood still, panting. The baby lay quiet now, glowing softly against his chest. He looked at the two women, both wounded, both exhausted, but alive. For the first time, none of them spoke in anger. They only breathed, sharing the silence of survival. The silver-haired woman broke it first, her voice soft. "You see now, human. This child is more than flesh. It is destiny." The violet-skinned warrior shook her head, wiping black blood from her blade. "No, destiny is a chain. The child should choose its own path. That is why it must be kept safe, hidden, until it decides." Daniel looked at the baby. Its tiny hand gripped his shirt, its glow warm and gentle. He thought of the river, the cold water, the cries that pulled him there. He thought of the hunters, the lies, the war waiting beyond. He whispered, more to himself than to them. "Maybe it isn't destiny, maybe it isn't a weapon or a throne, maybe it's just life, and life deserves a chance." The women exchanged glances. Neither argued this time. The dawn broke slowly outside. Pale light washed across the ruined cabin. Smoke drifted from the beast's corpse. Birds dared to sing again. The forest seemed calmer, but Daniel knew this was not the end. It was only a pause. He stood holding the baby tight, his voice steady. The river was only the beginning. "Whatever comes next, I'll protect it, no matter what." The silver-haired woman lowered her head in respect. The violet warrior sheathed her blade, her golden eyes softer than before. For a moment, all three stood in fragile peace, united not by trust, but by the child in his arms. Daniel stepped into the morning light, his cabin behind him in ruins, the road ahead unknown. The baby's glow warmed him like a small sun, and deep inside, he knew one truth: the real story had not yet begun.